Hey, welcome to Whole Human Psychology. I'm Isaac Wicker. Today is the first of an 8-part series on threat cycles. So what a threat cycle is, the idea is once you get into this threat mode, this idea of like I'm not safe, these are cycles that keep you feeling not safe, keep you feeling in that threat mode. So threat mode is meant to be a short-term, intense survival mode. And so when we get stuck in a cycle, it turns into a long-term stress period. And that's actually really bad for us. And so what I want to get into is 8 different cycles that keep us in threat mode, why that happens, and then some things we can do about it. So this first cycle is the stress exhaustion cycle. I want to start here because I think it's the most important and often the most overlooked. And because I think this is the road that leads most people to depression. It's not just bad things happen that leads people to depression, but it's this stress exhaustion that ends up crashing us into this deep place of exhaustion that leads us to check out. Depression is a way of checking out. It's another safety feature. We don't often think of depression as a safety feature, but it's a way of keeping ourselves safe, protected from this stress that keeps exhausting us. So we get depressed, we cut off. But that's another video. So today I want to get into stress exhaustion cycle. And the idea is that stress is actually really important and really powerful. It basically comes in and changes all of our systems. So it changes the way our brain works, it changes the way our emotions work, it changes the way our body works. So when we're stressed, we're geared up for intense physical survival action. So we're saying, something might attack me. I'm going to be ready to do the best that I can to survive. And again, it's meant to be short-term survival. And so what it does is in your brain, it gets you into this place of worry and hypervigilance and rumination. And that's what your brain is trying to do, is it's trying to predict threats. It's trying to predict threats and plan for them and see what you can do about them and notice them as quickly as possible. And when it does it in your body, is it gears you up to fight right away, to have these reactions. So you have some muscle tension. You're not just all the way relaxed, because then it's harder to react. You're tensed up already. You're ready to do something. So it affects your body. It affects your heart, your lungs, your digestive system. It also affects your emotions. You tend to have what we'd call like more negative emotions, because those are emotions that are meant to actually help survival. Like anger is a survival emotion, where it's like, if I'm big and scary and angry, then maybe you leave me alone. Or if I'm afraid, then maybe I don't go into the dangerous place. And so threat mode, or this stress mode, really affects us. It affects our whole system, but in a way that's actually pretty exhausting. So when you're tense and thinking and hypervigilant and worried about all this stuff, it's all using energy. Even if you're just sitting still, you think, I'm not doing anything. All this stuff is happening inside that's draining energy. And on top of that, actually stress blocks a lot of the things that would gain us energy. It actually affects our digestion. It affects our sleep. Insomnia is actually one of the big signs of stress, because you don't want to be caught unable to act quickly when there's a threat imminent, when your survival is in danger. So if I'm deeply sleeping and I'm attacked, I'm not going to survive that well. But if I'm kind of awake, or if I'm lightly sleeping, then I can have more chance of survival. And it's the same thing with digestion. So digestion uses a lot of energy. It's one of the ways that we get a lot of energy, but it uses a lot of our blood and energy. And so if I need to fight, I don't want all that blood and energy spent digesting my food. So it goes out to my limbs And so it can disrupt digestion, which on the short term is not a bad thing. But if this is chronic, then that actually becomes really problematic. These two main ways we have of replenishing energy is sleeping and digesting food are disrupted by stress. So not only is stress exhausting, it stops us from replenishing energy. And so there we get into exhaustion. So stress exhausts us, it drains us. And what happens when we're exhausted is that we're actually more prone to stress. So if you think about it like an energy meter, like I have this much energy and a situation that needs this much energy comes along and says, hey, deal with me. Like if my tank's full, that's not going to be much of a problem, right? I'm just like, all right, I'll deal with you. But if my tank is this full and then this problem comes along, all of a sudden that's a huge burden. That's a huge problem to be like, I can't deal with that. Like I don't have the reserves to deal with this problem coming up and then that problem coming up. Even if they're tiny problems, I don't have it. I don't have what it takes. So then I'm more stressed. These little problems seem like bigger problems and I just can't deal with them. And so this exhaustion leads back into stress. And you can also think about it in terms of overwhelm. So when you're overwhelmed, it means that your perception of what this problem is going to take is that your energy actually can't match that. You don't have the resources to deal with the problems you have to deal with. And so that's when you're overwhelmed. You're saying, this is too much for me. And so when you have lower resources, a lot more things are overwhelming. So let's say even no new problems come up. You just have like this stack of problems that's been around, but your resources get lower and lower. You're just more and more drained. Those problems feel more overwhelming. And so you're stuck in this cycle where you're stressed out, and that's using a ton of energy, but then you're exhausted, and so you're more stressed out. And we're back in this cycle where remember that when you're stressed, it's harder to replenish your energy. It's harder to rest. Not only is it harder to sleep and digest, but you don't even want to let your guard down. I call this rest anxiety. I've noticed it a lot in clients I work with, is they love relaxation exercises. They're super helpful. They're like, I'm stressed, I need some relaxation. But they don't do it on their own. Why? Because if you're expecting an imminent attack, you don't want to let your guard down. Like, really think of it in terms of stress wants to survive. I think the theme of stress is survive now, live later. Like, it doesn't want to do all the fun living things now. It wants to survive now. If you think of it like the 24 movie or shows, where it's just like, I've got 24 hours before the world is destroyed, and I'm the only one that can stop it, but I need to go for 24 hours. That's often what stress actually thinks. If you could get in the mind of stress, it feels that way. Like, there's a problem, I'm the only one that can solve it, and so I need to go. I like to think of it like paired up with a bubble bath, right? You tell, I don't remember the actor's name, but the guy in 24, like, hey, you're seeming stressed right now. How about you take a bubble bath and take a nice long nap and maybe do some yoga? Like, that would just seem absurd in the show, right? It's like, I've got 24 hours before the world blows up and you're telling me to take a bubble bath. That's the same kind of reaction that stress can feel. It's just like, okay, I know I should relax. I know I'm stressed, but who the hell's going to take a bubble bath when I feel like I'm on the verge of imminent destruction? And so we have to kind of get in that mindset of stress. It's like, I need to survive, and I feel like I'm about to be attacked by something that might destroy me. Okay. But in this world that we live in, you're not going to be destroyed, most likely. You're not about to be attacked by something that's going to destroy you, right? You have a project to get done, or you have bills to pay, or there are problems, but they're not problems that need an intense survival physical response. They're actually problems that need long-term health, long-term productivity, they need rest more than they need stress. Like a well-rested brain is going to do better at work than a stressed brain. So how do we break out of this cycle? The first is just to acknowledge that it's happening. It's like, I'm exhausted, and that keeps stressing me the heck out. And then what's actually really important is to acknowledge it and then be really intentional. Hey, I need rest. And that's going to take courage. We don't often associate courage with rest, but it's so important because rest feels scary. Rest feels threatening because it feels like if I let my guard down, I'll be attacked and I'll be vulnerable and I'll be really hurt. And so it takes courage to rest. It takes courage to do something that sets aside stress for a moment so that you can replenish. And often when people think of rest, they think of taking naps or deep meditation. But that's not all of it. Those are good things. But rest is more like a way of being in the world that's not afraid. That's just like open to receive. I tell people like playing volleyball is restful for me. It's a lot of physical exercise, but at the end I feel like replenished. My emotional and mental space is replenished. And I feel really good. I actually feel like I'm more open to the world. I'm like, And so rest is those ways where you can engage with the world and feel good about it and feel like you've actually received something good. But jumping right from I'm stressed to I'm going to do some deep meditation isn't going to work. It's not going to work unless you're insanely well practiced at it. And if you're insanely well practiced at it, you're probably not watching this video. We need to scale how we rest. That actually I propose to people that if you're stressed, there's a whole lot of energy, there's a whole lot of setup to do something physical. Use it. Do something physical. Exercise is one of the best ways of reducing anxiety and depression. Because what it does is it takes all that stress that's caught up in our bloodstream and gets it out. It gives it an avenue. And then once it's all out, it's not there. It's not bubbling up inside, constantly trying to keep us restless, but it's just out. Then you can kind of rest into that. Another really extreme, maybe not really extreme, but you've probably been hearing about cold showers somewhere, and you've probably been resisting them. But cold showers are physiologically one of the best ways of countering stress. So stress is a high heat, high energy survival response. Cold showers activate another survival response. So the dive reflex. And the dive reflex is when you're in cold water, your body freaks out and says, I need to conserve heat, I need to conserve energy. And so it takes a high heat, high energy response and just shuts it down. Because what you're trying to do is preserve your vital organs with the heat and the energy they need. So you're not wanting to waste anything. So cold water, cold showers activate that other survival response that trumps the stress response. And so cold showers, even within 30 seconds, can take you from panic down to actual calm. And from that foundation, you can start to actually engage in more restful activities. So exercise, cold showers, or like going for a walk, talking to somebody, something that's not just like getting you caught up in yourself, in like I'm stressed, but something that either gets the energy out or shuts the response down or makes you feel like you have a partner. Like talking to somebody, making you feel like you have a partner and engaging with somebody is really important. Another exercise that's more in the active rest realm is a mind dump. It's not really restful, but it can help you kind of deal with all the agitation that goes on in your brain when you've got stress. So mind dump, super easy. One of the most effective things I tell people to do, but super easy. You take pen and paper, write out every single thing that's on your mind. You don't have to show it to anybody. You don't have to do anything with it. And I'll probably get into mind dumps more in another video. But you just write it all out. That gives all like the chaos in your brain a place to go. And then once it lands on the paper, your brain can actually, like, when I do it, I can like feel my brain relaxing in a way. And then once you get into this place of like, I'm not just super stressed, you can start to incorporate actual restful activities. So a meditation that I really like, it's called my favorite weather meditation. Super easy. Again, you close your eyes, take big deep breaths. And what you're going to do is you're going to imagine your favorite weather. So that can be spring, summer, fall, winter, whatever kind of day that is. And then you're going to imagine your favorite thing to do during that weather. Maybe it's snuggling up on a chair with a book while it's raining outside. Or maybe you're going for a walk on a cool, crisp fall day, watching the leaves and collecting leaves. Or maybe you're skipping rocks on a sunny, hot summer day. So you're really putting yourself in this scene of being in your favorite weather, and you're just breathing. I say take 2 minutes of doing this really deep breathing, eyes closed meditation on your favorite weather and your favorite thing to do during the weather. Honestly, 2 minutes can change a lot. I've had people who do this exercise. I do a scaling question. And so there's a 7 out of 10 on anxiety when they start, and there are 3 out of 10 when they stop. That you can make a big difference, and that's 2 minutes. Or other things are just going out and playing, doing something fun. Like, I know for me during the winter, I can get in this productivity mindset, so I only go outside to shovel. But then when I go outside and actually explore, run around, climb mountains of snow, like it activates like a different part of my brain that's saying like, I'm not just being productive and surviving, I'm having fun. I can actually enjoy myself. I can be in my environment and be safe enough to have fun. And then just overall, so those are things you can do in the moment. Overall, routines are really important. So if you're just stressed and you need to relax, do some of those first suggestions, because those will get you into a different mindset. But long term, what you're going to want is to establish routines, especially around bedtime. I suggest no technology a couple of hours before bed. So just none. No technology, and definitely no technology in bed. So your brain needs to get this sense that it's time to let go. What technology does, technology is so addictive because it's telling us, you got to pay attention to me, you got to do something, you got to take care of me. Even if we're doing something fun, like the games on our phone are constantly, like they're built to engage us. But at bedtime, we're not supposed to be engaged. We're supposed to be relaxed. We're supposed to be getting ready to let go of the day. So no technology a couple of hours before bed, and then dim the lights at least half an hour before bed. I like to go no electric lights at all, go candlelight mode, or maybe electric candles, because that's also going to tell your brain, hey, you don't need to do anything right now. It mimics the sunset. And we used to have the sunset where it would just get really bright during the day, and then it would slowly get darker, and then you'd have this dark period right before bed. We used to have that thing called the sunset. Now we don't. We have electric lights that tell us it's daytime all the time. So if you have a really intentional period before bed where you dim the lights while you're still up, and just go candlelight mode. And then one of my favorite things to do during that candlelight mode is doing some stretching and deep breathing that helps me connect with my body, that helps me loosen up my body and connect with my breath and really relax. So today we talked about this stress exhaustion cycle where stress really gears us up to do intense things, but it's exhausting. And then we have exhaustion that makes us more stressed. It tells us, I can't handle this, I can't handle this, I can't handle this, this is stressful. So we need to start breaking out of that by directly addressing the stress in our system, by finding ways to reconnect with life that are restful, and then by building new routines that take care of us long term.